Happy finally Friday on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. We've got Law here with us today.
Yeah.
Jim's over there cooking up some sales. See what I did? Because his name is Jim Cook.
Oh, yeah.
So he's cooking up some sales.
Or he'll be in the chat all day instead of doing
Yeah,
sales.
that's fine. That's fine, too. We're glad you're with us. Thanks for being here. Make sure you smash the like button for us. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page as well. And if you're listening on the old-fashioned podcast, make sure you're following or subscribed at your favorite app and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We would appreciate that very, very much. A lot to get to today. We've got 2 games tonight. We've had the Leafs forcing a Game 7 last night. But why don't we start, fellas, with the baby Blackhawks, the Rockford IceHogs, Game 3 in Grand Rapids tonight. And in a best-of-5, in a tied 1-1 series, that Game 3 is pretty significant.
I believe pivotal is the word
That
they
is
like
the word.
to use.
Yes.
Pivotal Game 3, yes. This would be a huge win. Not only you win 2 out of the first 3 games in Grand Rapids, you get to come back home for Game 4 in the traditional 1-2-1-1 playoff format they're doing in this series. But, you know, you get to go home to try and close them out on Sunday. Otherwise, you lose, you're fighting for your life the next 2 games. So it'll be interesting to see which version of the IceHogs come out. The team that we saw in Game 1 that had a 2-0 lead in the third period, but probably didn't deserve a 2-0 lead. Jackson Stauber was great.
Right.
They blew it. The controversial play in overtime. Or the team that just dominated Game 2 5-1. Like, which team shows up? Hopefully the Game 2 team.
Hopefully the Game 2 team.
Or-
I mean, there were some flashes of the Game 1 team that you'd take. Just take the good parts of both of those performances,
Yes.
put them together, and win Game 3 tonight and take a 2-1 lead back to Rockford for Sunday night. Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like they did what they were supposed to in Game 1. They got out to an early lead. They kind of weathered the storm. Jackson Stauber had a good game. It's just they couldn't close it out in that final third period. I think you could say that there were some evidential growing pains that roster will need to kind of go through. It's a lot of young guys playing a lot of important roles. But I think they figured it out in Game 2, and they were down 1-0 in that first period and then scored 5 unanswered. So it was kind of like maybe it was the wake-up call they needed. It was just like, shoot, like we're down in Game 2, like we need to kind of pick it up here, and they did. So yeah, I would like to see them mix the response in Game 2 with the start from Game 1 for their game tonight, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens in net, because even though he lost the game, Jackson Stauber was the only reason that game remained tied in the third period and got to overtime. And then Drew Comezzo in Game 2 had a solid performance. So it's a good problem to have. Whose good performance are you going to go with for Game 3? Are you going to go back to Stauber, or are you going to ride Comezzo on the road?
Yeah, I haven't seen. I know the morning skate was underway, but I haven't seen any news about lineup decisions or anything.
Yeah.
I think the morning skate's over. I just haven't seen any reports.
Yeah, if I were to bet, if there was a prop bet on one of the many great apps out there, I'm not sure which one is today.
It's none today.
Okay, cool.
Talk about whoever you want.
Then if I was in Vegas and I could bet who's starting in goalie for Rockford, which I don't think is a thing, it's probably going to be Stauber, just for the fact that these guys have been every other game, barring an injury or anything like that.
Yeah.
Comezzo missed a couple games earlier. Stauber dealt with something early. Otherwise, they've been like the Bruins for the most part the last 2 seasons, with Swayman and Allmark every other game, regardless of result. We'll talk about the Bruins and their goalies later. I would guess, even though Comezzo won, both played well, I'd guess they'd go back to Stauber.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't see why you would mess with the success. I mean, this is what you used to get to this point. Why change now?
Yeah.
It wasn't like Stauber was terrible. You know, if Stauber got lit up 7-0 in Game 1, okay, you ride Comezzo.
Then you go back to Comezzo
But
for sure.
And you don't love that last goal, but it's we talked about that play.
Yeah,
like,
that play was
everyone
weird.
thought the play was going to get blown dead, and then it didn't.
But
and
you're
everybody was
not
kinda caught off
even
guard.
in overtime have that play happen without Stauber's heroics.
Yeah, he made
in
huge
regulation.
saves in that game 1. So,
I
mean, I think playing Stauber to continue with the rotation is probably likely. And then, let's say you turn to Drew Commesso then for game 4, then you either have him coming off of a really good performance that got you back tied with the series to either clinch it potentially at home, or say you don't win tonight, then you have Commesso coming off of his performance in a situation where you're looking to tie it up again, which he just did in game 2.
He just faced that.
Either way, I think if you go with Stauber, win or lose, you have Commesso coming in a situation that is going to be on paper a positive for him. So,
and then if you get to a game 5, then that might be where Sorensen says, all right, I'm not going to stick I'm going to go with my gut here. I'm going to take the guy that's played best. So say, they lose tonight and then they win game 4 with Commesso.
You'd be 2-0 with Commesso, 0-2 with Stauber.
I mean,
even if it might not be,
you kind of have to reward Drew Commesso with the game 5 at that point. You let it. These things always have a weird way of working themselves out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do.
They'll always let the play dictate it. But listen, if they play like they did in front of whoever starts tonight, like they did in game 2, it's going to be a win.
Yeah, you're going to be in a good spot.
And the AHL playoffs is weird. It's wacky. Just look, if you're paying attention to the other side of the bracket, the Milwaukee Admirals, who had a 19-game winning streak in the regular season to run away with the Central Division, they lost game 1 of their series against the Texas Stars last night. They got beat 6-3. Granted, they haven't played in a week and a half, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they had to, even though they're the top seed, they had to go to Texas for game 1 and 2. But they got thumped, doubled up 6-3 in a playoff game. So I think the rest of the Calder Cup playoffs are going to probably hope, because Texas was a team that was they were in first place until the Admirals got hot. And then they fell to 4th because Dallas called up some of their top guns.
Yeah.
Maverick Bork, who's back, though now. Logan Stankhoven was a huge part of their success. So anybody who's in the AHL right now is hoping Dallas makes a deep run. So none of those guys that are there come back down.
Right, yeah.
That's
to
scary.
The AHL. Because you put Logan Stakehoven back on that team, good luck.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed. I wondered too, like, I've been thinking about this a lot, like, is the fact that they blew game 1, right? And you wonder what the effect of that would have been. But they had a 2-0 lead, and I mean, I know they were outplayed, but it feels like it just got away from them a little bit. I don't know. It doesn't seem, just based on a response in game 2, didn't seem like that had too much of a crushing mental effect, and you always have to worry about that when you're talking about a younger team. And they, like you said, they bounced back game 2 very, very well. And I don't know. I'm interested to see how this one's going to go tonight, because you're right. It is a team with a lot of inexperienced players, but they do. Like when you look back at the Remington Pitlick and Zach Sanford emergency signings that the Hawks had to make, like it's done well for them in the Calder Cup playoffs.
They do have a lot of young players, but they also have a ton of AHL vets. They got the right mix. That's why I think this team is set for a good run, because you have Rem Pitlick, who's been a MVP type player for them since he went back down to Rockford. Zach Sanford, dude, is a Stanley Cup winner. He had a goal in the 2019 Stanley Cup final. That's invaluable. So that's a guy you look to after that game 1, where he's probably like, guys, this is no big deal. Like, let's just go out and do what we do, and we got this. Brett Seeney's been through this before. Luke Phillips played multiple AHL seasons. They've got a lot of experience, which is the perfect offsetting for all of the first-year pros they've got in that lineup. And it's a good mix. So I really think a guy like Zach Sanford was probably the guy in the room after that game 1 where, like, hey, it's all right. Nobody expected to run through this undefeated. Like, we know how to beat these guys. Let's go out and do it. And that's the beauty of playing a team in the playoffs, as you've played 13 times in the regular season.
Yeah.
There's no surprises.
Yeah, you know more or less what you're going to see coming into this series, because you've seen them so much during the regular season, and not only just the more AHL veteran guys, but some of the 2, 3, 4-year players like Mike Hardman and Michael Tepley.
You've been your best players.
Like they have come up big. Like Hardman had 2 goals and an assist in game 2. I think he had Tepley had the game's opening goal in game 1. Like these guys are their futures with the Blackhawks kind of up in the air. They're in that space where it's like they're a really good AHL player, but really not certain that they're going to be anything more than like a spot NHL player. And as the organization wants to move forward and push things forward, probably the idea of a Mike Hardman or a Michael Tepley making it to the NHL now with the Blackhawks, what their expectations are going, are probably a little out of reach at this point. Still young guys, still a lot of good skill to them, but just not necessarily over that hump. But they have stepped up big for this IceHogs team, and this is an opportunity where guys like that. I think off the top of my head, both of them are RFAs.
Both will be RFAs, yes.
Like I said, like young guys, you put up a good run in the AHL playoffs. Maybe it gets you to stick around in Chicago in the Blackhawks organization for a little bit longer. Maybe you get a look elsewhere as an RFA, depending on what the Blackhawks want to do with you. But it's a big opportunity for them to make an impact here and help their future prospects.
Yeah, Tepley's got goals in 3 straight games, both games of these playoffs and the last game of the regular season. He's been a guy the last 3 seasons who's been very streaky, but each year has gotten like where he plays great for a month, and the rest of the year kind of like, oh yeah, Michael Tepley's on this team. So those are 2 guys that are playing for their next contract and doing it well at this point.
I'm a little surprised we didn't get to see Hardman this year in Chicago. I mean, considering how well he was doing in Rockford, and maybe they just said, hey, we don't really see much of an NHL future for him, so there's no point in taking him away from Rockford.
And he also missed about a month of the season.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he had some injuries.
He might not have been available when all those guys were needed. I don't remember the time frame of when he was hurt, but I know he missed 3 or 4 weeks, I think with like a shoulder injury. I think maybe that Crawford game, was his first game back, second game back.
Okay. So
that would have been February. That would have been right around the same time that all the Hawks injuries had. So that could be a part of it. Hardman has got that bottom 6 edge to him. I'm not sure about his speed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but, we've seen a lot of guys get used in that role over the last 2 seasons where you're like, yeah, I mean, the bar was pretty low. So we'll see. I think this postseason is really going to set up where the organization go. Even if you just bring them, both those guys back on AHL deals, or something, or you just keep them
a
in
1-year, 2-way deal.
Keep them in there. You're going to need guys at some point to come up and fill spots. And Tepley hasn't played in the NHL yet, but I think you could do worse than either of those guys if you need 7 minutes on the 4th line in a emergency situation.
We'll see. It's going to be a good game tonight. AHL TV. If you're not in Rockford, if you're in Rockford, you get it. And speaking of the IceHogs, it's grilling season. Get your pork.
Hogs.
Go get it. People who are active need more protein than the average American. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Dietitians of Canada, and the American College of Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes, depending on training. For a 150-pound person, that's about 81 to 136 grams of protein per day. 1 3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals build and preserve muscle. The International Society of Sports Nutrition recommends that people who are involved in a general fitness program who are interested in optimizing their health eat low-fat, high-quality sources of protein, which include lean cuts o' pork. Not sure if the pig slop's on that list, but we'll reach out to our pork friends.
That is a high-quality cut of pork, my friend.
There's a lot of protein in that, and a lot of other things. That's true.
A lot of dairy.
There's a lot of calories.
Starch.
Well, elevate your protein game
stuff.
with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. From your sausage to your bacon for breakfast to pulled pork or juicy chops hot off the grill, it's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product, paid for by the Illinois pork producers. Generations of commitment. Thank you, pork.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm hungry now. Hey, if you like pork and you like minor league hockey, you want to go to the IceHogs game, you go to Game Time. Get your tickets there and take all the hassles out of your ticket buying experience. And if you also like baseball, today's a perfect day to go out to a baseball game. And
120 Club in the left
120
field
Club
bleachers. Got a
out
great day.
at the Cubs game today against the Brewers. Wonderful weather. I saw Luke Stuckmeyer out there with a box of donuts that he was trying to give away. I don't know why it was so hard to give away those donuts.
I would have taken them.
Because there's a strange old man handing them to you.
This is true.
They're still donuts, though.
I mean, if it was that hard, he could have just left him here.
Yeah, just bring it.
He could have if he wanted to. But if you want to get out to the game this baseball season, go through Game Time. They are an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, the feature that lets you see the view from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets this MLB season. And you love the last-minute ticket deals. If you're kind of on the fence about what you want to do, if you can make the game or you can't, or maybe your boss lets you out of the office on a, hey, surprise half-day Friday, hey, I can go to the game. Go to Game Time, get those last-minute deals, and save the most on your seats. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets this year with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CHGO, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
All right, so before we get to the playoffs, I want to talk about this. LNK asked about it. Pierre-Luc Dubois, who is just finished the first year of an 8-year deal with the Los Angeles Kings, is already being discussed as a buyout option.
Yeah, Elliot Friedman talked about it on today's 32 Thoughts.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. I actually got here early to write down the details.
So it's got to do with his birthday.
Yes. So here's the deal. Okay. So if the Kings buy out Pierre-Luc Dubois, again, just finished year one of an 8-year deal that pays him $8.5 on the cap. So if they bought him out, he'd be on their salary cap for the next 14 years.
At 2/3, and he gets paid 2/3.
So it's a little bit different. So if a player, so he turns 26 in June.
24th,
Yeah, June 24th. So if an NHL player is 26 and gets bought out, they receive 2/3 of the contract and all the bonuses for twice the length of the deal. So there's 7 years left, so 14 years. If a player is 25 and under, it's 1/3 of the contract over twice the length of the deal. The buyout period begins the later date of either June 15th or 48 hours after the Cup final ends and concludes on June 30th. The last Cup final date possible is June 24th, which is Pierre-Luc Dubois' 26th birthday.
They get screwed.
Oh, my gosh.
Screwed.
Wow.
So the Kings, if they're going to buy him out, are very much hoping for the Cup final to end before that last possible day.
They want nothing but
Sweeps.
conference final sweeps.
Yeah. Sweep.
Yeah, none of this. Yeah, get this.
Wow.
Canucks, get it over with tonight. Stars, get it over with tonight, and then
That's crazy.
yeah.
How many more shots does this guy have?
I mean, he's going to continue to get chances. I wonder how any team invests in him because
Rob
I don't
Blake
think there's this many problems following him just by coincidence.
I don't think they're gonna.
Everyone's
buy him
wrong
out.
but him.
I don't think they're gonna buy him out at this point.
That would be an insane.
Especially with 14. Like I mean,
Holy
that's
smokes,
like
14.
That's like
2038. The
years.
deal would be
as
done.
Jeff Merrick said. I don't want to take away his joke or thought. One of the 32 they had. Hockey would have its own Bobby Bonilla day.
Yeah,
if they bought him out.
That's Pierre-Luc Dubois day.
So I don't think they're going to do that. That's just too much. Like, if they think it's worth it, then that just shows you how much of a just shithead this guy is.
Do not touch.
Like,
he is cannot sign.
If they are willing to
God.
pay him for 14 years
To not be
to
there.
go away, that tells me
It's 2/3 of $8 million.
any hockey
Gotta do some math.
5.8.
Any hockey general manager that tells me I don't want him anywhere near my team. I don't see them doing that. I honestly don't. They've got
paying him almost $5.5 million on their cap for 14 years to not be
right when
there.
you have a ton of young players
That's
you're eventually going to need to sign. I don't see that happening.
So okay,
They're screwed one way or the other.
Just to because I just went to the buyout calculator on Cap Friendly. Here are the cap hits for the 14 years. Where to happen?
That's
Whoa.
good. We need content in the show. So 14 numbers.
1.63, 1.53, 2.53, 3.78,
Oh, it gets
3.8, 3.82, 2.82, and then it's 1.13 for the last 7 years of the deal.
Okay,
I mean,
so
that's
it's not 5.5,
doable.
but still
So after 20, I'm trying to line this up. Sorry.
20. So 20.
After 20, 30, 31. So that season and beyond, it's 1.1.
Those aren't real years.
Which isn't like,
According
at
to
that
Devin
point,
Cooley,
it's not
we're
a
never
huge
getting
number
there
because
anyway.
you assume the cap will go up between
Sure,
now and
yeah.
20,
Right.
30, 31.
you hope it does. You
If
hope
it doesn't,
it does.
something has
Yeah, you
gone
hope it
drastically
does.
Think about that. Like, we just signed a dude for 8 years and immediately are considering, you know what?
Not only
Let's just eat it for
Bad
the next
idea,
14.
yeah.
No. Not only they didn't just sign a guy for 8
They
years.
traded for him.
They
Yeah.
gave up some really good young players to sign him for 8 years. It wasn't a free agent. They gave up Gabe Vilardi. They gave up who else was part of that deal? Another player that worked out real well for
It can't be.
Winnipeg. I'm drawing a complete blank.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
But
right
anyway, they gave up. That's the type of deal that gets a general manager fired, and I wonder if that's something. Now the Kings are traditionally pretty patient with their GMs, and Rob Blake has done a lot of good, and he's had some misses, and this one is the worst miss of them all. But it's 1 year. Do they think, hey, maybe he just felt the pressure of trying to live up to that big contract? Give him another year, see what happens.
Why not?
I mean, you kind of have to. Because when he was in Columbus and when he was in Winnipeg, obviously a confirmed Pudwack, but a productive confirmed Pudwack.
Yeah.
This was his worst statistical year by far.
So
Yeah.
here's the trade, by the way.
Yeah.
The Kings gave up Gabe Vilardi, Alex Iafallo, Rasmus
what it was.
Kupari,
In a second.
and a 2024 second for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
And then signed him to that deal.
And then
Bad.
And then Vilardi went out this year.
Vilardi
And
was one of their best
had,
players.
30. So he missed some of the year with injury, but he had 36 points in 47 games, and he had 4 points in 5 playoff games this year. Alex Iafallo this season had 27 points in 82 games. He's more of a lower lineup guy, anyways. And then you have Kupari and a second round pick. I think Kupari is more of a prospect. I don't think he played a lot this season.
So-
just 1 point in 28.
By the way,
games.
the numbers I read were if they do it before the 24th.
that was the 1/3.
After that, 2.76, 2.66, 3.66, 4.91, 4.93, 4.95. Like, it is a significant
Just to-
difference.
just to
It's
not
between,
play there.
it's like
That's crazy.
44,000. The difference would be like 27,000 and change and like 44,666 if they do it when he's 25 or 26. So I think they're probably looking at this and saying, if we are thinking about this already, now's
You're-
the time. Like,
you're
just
gonna have to
do
do
it.
it.
Just tear the Band-Aid off.
You're going to have to do it so fast.
Because if you can't figure it out on a team led by Rob Blake with Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty, Philip Deneau, like a lot of guys, like if those guys can't get through to him and have him be like a decent teammate, my hope that it's going to work somewhere else
Crazy.
is pretty
He
low.
even looks like a Pudwack in his media guide picture here on Hockey Reference.
I wonder if they're better off trying to trade him.
No one's taking that. Nobody.
For
No
half.
one's going to.
No one's taking
I don't. I still
You wouldn't
don't-
take him. Not you saying the Blackhawks. Absolutely not. But you don't think there's a team that would take him for
7 years.
what,
at
4.25 for 7 years?
4.25. I mean, you. I'm not going to put it past an NHL GM to say we can fix him because
How about Utah? Are they
Sure.
still doing that?
no, I think they're trying to spend their money wisely now.
He's had 3 seasons of at least 27 goals and 60 points. He has been productive.
Yeah.
His last 2 years in Winnipeg were 28 and 60, 27 and 63. So, like, he was coming off good years. You can deal with a guy being a prick if he's productive.
Right.
But you got a guy who allegedly a prick and not so productive. 16 goals, 40 points.
this year.
Not a horrible season, but for a guy making that kind of money, you need more.
Well, and he went from being like a top line guy in Winnipeg to playing less than 16 minutes a night in LA. Like,
so,
But that's for a reason. You know,
Sure.
like, I mean, when they
I
traded for
I
him,
agree, it's
they
for a
obviously
reason.
thought they were getting a valuable piece, someone that they could be part of their next, because they're trying to keep the window open in LA as long as they can. Like, that's not a market that can really tolerate a full-blown rebuild like the Hawks are doing. I don't know if LA has the patience for that. It's a pretty strong fan base, but
pretty strong fan base, but I would say if the Kings aren't good, there's other things in LA to do with your time.
go watch LeBron.
there you go.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
until he comes to Chicago.
Whatever. Then they'll bring
Are
in
we still
whoever
talking
the
about
next
that?
LeBron is in LA. Like, the Lakers always
LeBron's son.
yeah. The Lakers always have a top star or stars. That's what they do.
The
And you
Lakers
just
they
go hang
always
out with
draw.
Jack Nicklaus on the
Yeah,
Nicholson.
yeah.
Thank you.
yeah.
Let's do that.
Go watch
Nicholas is
Shohei
on the golf
Ohtani
course.
Yeah,
for the next
sure.
million
some-
years. There's
there
plenty
are-
of things to
there
do.
are things to do in Los Angeles.
Right.
This
Yeah.
just in.
You can't watch Caleb Williams anymore, though.
Go to Apple Pan.
Boom.
You can.
Get yourself
Just
some
gotta
pie
come to
and
Chicago.
burger.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that is. I mean, again, I feel like I'm not going to put it past an NHL GM to see the production and say we can figure him out. We have the right environment for Pierre-Luc
We can
Dubois.
rebuild him. We have the technology.
And a lot of teams are always going to say a 6'4", 230-pound center.
Very
He'll
tempting.
figure it out. We will figure it out with him.
Never, as I've said many, many times, never underestimate the stupidity of an NHL general manager.
So I still a 7-year commitment in a trade.
I think they're stuck with him, at least for now. I think maybe they go and say, all right, we know he can put up 27, 28 goals. We know he can put up 60, 65 points. Let's hope he rebounds next year, has that, and then he looks a lot more appealing if we try and trade him for 6 years and maintain half of that salary or a quarter of that salary.
Right.
At least, hey, he's back on track. That first year was just a fluke.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, oof.
Well, I don't know if there's any.
It's just such a big difference between now and then. Like, it is a lot more money if you wait.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's glad it's not the Blackhawks' problem.
Not our problem.
Yes. By the way, I don't know what's off the top of my head, Alan. Good question. If he gets traded for half and then that team buys him out, the Kings are on the hook for that, right?
For a buyout?
I don't think
So if the Kings
No.
trade him,
No, it's not, because we bought out Josh Bailey and the Islanders didn't get any kind of cap.
Which Bailey?
okay, yeah, that's
It's
true.
the retirement thing. It's the Duncan Keith
That's the
retirement.
that's
Oh,
the cap
yeah,
recap.
yeah.
It's
Cap
not.
recapture.
It's
There's
not.
no.
to do-
Yeah, if you trade a guy and retain his salary and then the team buys him out, the team's on the hook for the buyout money.
Right.
But I think you're probably still on the hook for the retained salary originally.
Yes, the retained salary doesn't go away,
Yeah.
but you don't
But
get
the buyout
you don't get
is
the
the
buyout.
buyout is
Right.
on the
Yeah,
team that
so the
makes
Kings
that
would still be
transaction.
responsible for the $4.5 million for seven,
Or
whatever,
retained
4
salary.
point, whatever,
Yeah.
4.25 for the next
Yeah.
7 years.
Right, but they wouldn't. So I don't know. Those are concepts for a smarter person than me. And
I'm looking around. I mean,
I'm willing to bet there are no
Pretty empty office today.
Pierre-Luc Dubois bobbleheads available on FOCO these days.
Probably not.
And if they are, they're probably on sale. But if you do want to get yourself some awesome sports merchandise, whether it be clothing or other accessories, do check out our pals at FOCO. It's been such a long time since we got to talk about FOCO.
It has been.
But they're going to get you fitted out in the best sports gear around. You can get hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Show off your love to your favorite team.
I mean, it's
With
summertime. Don't you guys
team-branded
talk
French-
about banana hammocks? Isn't that what
yeah,
you're
I'm
saying?
getting there.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
getting
okay.
there. Wait for it.
Sorry.
Wait for it.
It's been a while. I'm
Hey, wear
excited.
one
I mean,
on
I
the
know
set.
that's
So
your favorite thing in the whole world,
So
but
excited for the
you gotta wait
banana
for it.
hammocks. Patience.
So anyway, you can get team-branded friendship bracelets.
Oh,
Pass
hey
those
now.
out to all your new.
Sweet.
Just get yourself some
All your besties.
Cubs friendship bracelets and pass them out at the Friday 120 Club.
Yeah.
Make all kinds of new friends, whether it's jackets or beachwear like banana hammocks, Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence.
Or even
Beachwear.
overalls.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
something for fans for almost every occasion. I like how they've clarified almost. Not every, but almost. We have some awesome set decorations here. The Connor Bedard, Stan Mikita,
The combo
bobblehead, black and white color. We're getting a Michigan, Connor Bedard Michigan bobblehead, right? That's still
I
coming.
don't remember if I ordered that or not.
I think we did.
Don't look at me.
I think we got that one because we talked about the Jordan Bennington.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Fillable
with,
diaper
with
on
diaper
the,
filling action.
Absolutely. So we've got plenty of different bobbleheads here. If you got an office or a man cave or a she shed to decorate, head on over to foco.com. That's FOCO.com, or click on the link in the description below. And just because you're our favorite people in the whole wide world, you're going to save 10% off all non-presale items when you use the promo code CHGO10 at checkout. Check them out, Foco. F-O-C-O.
I see Foco has a Roma Dunze bobblehead for pre-order.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I don't see a Caleb Williams, but I swear it might be sold out already. That might
Can't
be why it's
imagine
not
they
showing
would
up.
have done that.
They would still have.
But they've got a Caitlin Clark bobblehead if you were so inclined.
Has anybody thought of...
She's playing her first preseason game tonight.
I don't want to say this out loud in case nobody has thought of it, but has anybody thought of a Caleb Williams brand nail polish to put out in the market yet? Has Revlon signed
Hook up
him yet?
with
that's a
Selena
good
Gomez has a makeup company. You can hook up with her with
Hey,
that.
Sure.
speaking of new bobbleheads,
Yes.
Foco, you can pre-order it right now. Has a Frank Nazar, Chicago Blackhawks' first career goal bobblehead
is it the hair? Is he
available
doing
for
the-
pre-order, and will ship. I don't know. It's
doesn't show
got
the
an
picture of
outline.
it,
It doesn't
yeah.
look like he's doing that, but who knows?
Man,
Ships no later than October 31st, 2024.
All right, so he'll have like
Happy
10
Halloween.
NHL
Jim,
goals by
order
the time
that
we
for
get
us. Frank Nazar Foco bobblehead. We need it.
Yes.
I'll send you the link.
We need it now. The
That's-
meatloaf.
That's Jake's favorite player. Get him.
Yeah, Jake
get
will
him
buy
out.
it.
Yeah,
Jake,
yeah.
Jake might already have it on order. We
Tape
got
it to his wall. There's room now.
Um,
All right, let's get
yeah,
to
so
the
how about that?
let's
That's
get to the
fun.
playoffs,
Hey,
shall we?
should we talk about ourselves for a little bit?
I guess.
Yeah. Hey, if you love what we're doing here,
I can read some of the insults I've received over the last 24 hours.
Yeah,
They're all
well,
about the same.
You know,
Yeah.
They're very original and
You've heard it all before.
Do you guys know I'm fat? Why did no one tell me?
Somebody told me that too.
somebody told me that too.
No one in the chat
Yeah.
felt like pointing this out to me. I just had to learn this
Wow.
yesterday.
It's a lot of original insults flying around out there.
It reminds me of
Things I haven't been hearing since I was like 16 years old. Weird.
I'm not white.
just reminds me of that.
Gene Wilder movie.
Just
Hero
reminds me of
Evil
that
Family
Family Guy. Just reminds me of that Family Guy episode where he goes to the doctor and it's just like, "Yeah, you're just real fat." Excuse me? This is news to me.
If I'm so fat, how come Stewie and I wear the same size onesies?
Good old Family Guy.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, but hey, if you don't want to hurl insults at us and you want to,
I mean, you can.
you could still do it.
Do it in the Discord.
Your money's green no matter what. Become a CHGO diehard and get access to all the exclusive written content across all CHGO.com, across all the sports beats that we have to offer. You get access to the diehard only Discord lounge for all of the teams that we cover. You get 20% off at the CHGO locker for all of our sweet merch. When you sign up to be a diehard, you get a free shirt or hat or $35 off of a hoodie. And every year upon renewal, you also get a free shirt or hat or $35 off a hoodie. And you also get 20% off of our events, tailgates, watch parties, takeovers, all that stuff, all included with the diehard perks. Yeah, and it's just a great way to be a part of the continuously growing CHGO community.
Yeah, we got some new diehards this week. We're going to shout them out in a second, but I know Mario just published your big draft 50 names to know ahead of the draft.
wasn't diehards only because
You don't have to say that.
I want this information to be
make
spread
them
wide
become a
across
diehard.
the Blackhawks world. But as we get closer to the draft, we're going to have some diehard only draft coverage leading up to June 28th and 29th. So if you really want to dive into that, might do some exclusive stuff with some of our draft analyst friends. got some ideas up here, spinning some wheels in the head. So become a diehard and get prepared for the draft and much, much more.
And I've got my Blackhawks beat.
Yep.
Talked about Luke Richardson and how Kyle Davidson's mandate of, quote, that can't happen again also applies to him. So check it out if you want to on allchgo.com.
I think I found my fun summer project I'm going to do. Ooh. It's not going to be diehard only, but I think I'm going to spend the summer doing Blackhawks numerology and go over every number ever worn by Blackhawks and who wore it best. Maybe somebody you forgot.
I like that.
It'll be fun.
That'd be fun. A number you forgot a player wore?
Or I'm literally going to go through every number. It's going to be a off-season long series. It won't be one post.
That sounds fun.
We'll start like 1 through 5 and work our way through the ranks.
I mean, I know he's not a Hawk, but when you guys mentioned Rob Blake, in my head, I'm immediately like number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah,
That's
synonymous.
what I do. Well, it's just what I do.
When you think of like
think of
the
numbers.
great fours in hockey, he's up there.
Yeah.
Bobby
Rob
Orr
Blake,
for sure.
Bobby
Seth
Orr.
Jones.
Seth
Jones.
Nicholas Chalmerson.
Hell yeah.
I think Rob Blake might be
Keith
off the top of my head.
Nice. Keith
Probably
Carney.
number 2 of the 4 of the number 4.
Yeah, I'd have to check who else wore it.
Yeah.
There's probably some old Canadians that have 6 million goals that I'm forgetting about, but
Wasn't either I'm gonna just throw this at the wall and see if I'm right. Either Lafleur or Beliveau was number 4.
I think Lafleur was 10.
Okay.
Beliveau might have been. He was.
John Beliveau.
I was
number
right.
4, yes.
Yep.
See,
Look at
I'm
you.
super smart with my
So
2 guesses.
Good for you.
it's between those two are probably two of the best, best to ever do it. And then
Seth Jones is up there, but
he's right behind those 2 guys.
yeah.
right there. Right in the Mount Rushmore with both of them. Yeah, that'll be fun. I look forward to that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All right, let's get to some playoff talk here.
Can we
shall
mention one
No?
more thing? We don't have
sure.
to jump into it. We'll get into the game from last night and everything on. But made official, Connor Bedard is playing for Team Canada because they announced the roster.
Nice.
At the World Championships. Speaking of Jordan Binnington, they'll be teammates at this tournament, so that'll be fun. Your forwards are Connor Bedard, Michael Bunting, Macklin Celebrini,
Teammates. that'll be
Dylan
good.
Cozens, Adam Fantilli, Ridley Gregg, Dylan Gunther, Andrew Mangiapane, Jack McBain, Jared McCann, Dawson Mercer, and Brandon Tanev. Defensively, Bowen Byram, Caden Gooley, Jamie Oleksiak, Colton Parayko, Owen Power, Damon Severson, and Olin Zellweger. And your goaltenders are the aforementioned Binnington, Nico Dawes, and Joel Hofer. This is a young team.
It's like a World Junior team.
Lots of young guys
Guardians
on this
de
team.
Butt.
Hey, they're grooming. They're that's not the right word. They're getting them ready for the Olympics in a couple years.
Yeah,
they're obviously targeting who we want in 2024,
26.
26. Yeah, not 24.
Yep.
That's this year. They're obviously like, hey, all right, kids.
A lot of these young guys are using this as an opportunity to make an impact because you already can pencil in half of the Canadian roster for the Olympics, So this is an opportunity for some of these young guys to make an impact.
Be fun to watch.
Yeah,
When does that kick off?
That's cool.
another
That
couple
starts
days, right?
May 5th.
That's Sunday.
May 10th.
May
Sorry,
10th.
May
All
10th.
right.
10th through the 26th.
It is
I wanna
1
say.
week from today.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So
Let's go.
with that Team Canada roster, the Team USA roster that they're sending, it's going to be a fun World Championship. So outside of the playoffs, that'll be some fun hockey to watch.
Yeah.
Lebowski 5 says the Italian stereotype thing is the only one that's still acceptable. We asked Mario for clearance.
Well, you've got 3 Italians on set.
I mean, yes, I'm very Italian, and I.
Yes.
What's the problem with the stereotype? Just
It's the last one that's like accepted is the Italian
Mangiapane.
voice.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I was like, hey, forgot about
It's
it.
celebrational.
This is Italian American discrimination.
I love my Italianness. I went to D'Amato's yesterday, got a delicious chicken cutlet sandwich. I went to Cafe Pronto, got an Americano and a croissant, which is not Italian.
It's not Italian.
That's
not
French.
But an Italian woman
Don't
makes
use
them.
the accent, though. That's offensive.
Yeah.
A croissant. That's how you're supposed to say it.
Okay.
Croissant.
I'm not starting it. I keep starting it too soon. Is it time?
It's time.
Sure. Let's
All right,
let's talk
talk
about
about
the
it.
playoffs. Yeah,
The Maple Leafs forced Game 7
they did.
with a 2-0 win over the Bruins. William Nylander.
William, don't call me Alex.
Please
Nylander.
don't call me Alex. with a pair of goals.
But Alex has more goals since March 16th or whatever.
I guess that's technically
March
true.
26th, whatever it was. Alex scored more goals since then, but
They looked good, man. They came out for the first half of that game and just stuck it to the Bruins. Like, F you, you're not getting a shot.
I don't know. I think it's a combination of, yes, the Maple Leafs playing well and the Bruins piddling down their leg. It's a combination of the two. Because if you look at the last two games, in the first period,
2-1, sorry.
the Maple Leafs have outshot the Boston Bruins 23-3 in the last two first periods.
Yeesh.
And in last night's first period, the Bruins only had one shot on goal, and it was a shorthanded shot. They did not have a 5-on-5 shot on goal.
It's a good way to beat the Bruins.
David Pastrnak has disappeared these last two games.
And called out.
Brad Marchand has disappeared.
Yep.
Yes, I know what Jim Montgomery's trying to do with the Pastrnak thing, but Brad Marchand's been a ghost the last two games too. So not having Austin Matthews, if you look at these last two games, what are the two things that the Maple Leafs have been criticized for throughout this entire latest run is their lack of defense and their lack of goaltending. And those are the two things that have got them back in this series.
Yeah, Wool's been great.
Wool's been great, but he hasn't had to make any major saves either. He hasn't had to make any highlight reels. He's been good when he's had to be. The team in front of him has done a really good job of making life easy for him these last two games, or at least
dug in.
easier. But having no Austin Matthews has forced this team to play the best team defense they have in ages. And I want to give a shout out to former Blackhawk, a favorite of ours on the show, Jake McCabe has been
awesome.
a monster.
Yep.
Love Jake
The
McCabe.
last couple games. Matthew Nees has had a couple of
That
huge
pass
games.
to set up the Nylander breakaway
the
was
pass, yeah.
And he had
really
the big goal.
well.
He had the big goal
Really
in
well done.
game 5. He's having a coming out party. We'll see what happens. No matter what happens Saturday night, 31 fan bases are going to be happy because you're either going to have the Toronto Maple Leafs lose another heartbreaking Game 7, which will make a lot of people happy, myself included.
It becomes like the Bart Simpson meme of him just like, yeah, say the thing, like say the line, like It's like, yeah, come on, Leafs, have your overreaction.
So they're either going to break their hearts of their fans again,
which might lead to the dismantling of that team.
maybe. This probably should happen anyway. Or the Boston Bruins are going to become the first team in professional sports history, not just hockey, to blow 3-1 series leads in back-to-back seasons.
That's crazy.
Which will make a lot of.
It's never happened before.
Not in back-to-back years.
In back-to-back
The
years to
same
blow a
team
3-1
blow a
That's
3-1
crazy.
lead.
Wow.
They would be the first team in all of sports to do that.
Wow.
So that would make a lot of people happy, myself included. Like, bottom line is, outside of Boston and Toronto, we all win, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's great theater.
It is.
It's wonderful theater.
That game last night was very dramatic. It wasn't a good game. People are like, oh, it was good. No, just because it's close doesn't mean it's good.
It was
Sure.
dramatic.
It was dramatic.
It was
stressful.
dramatic.
Or as
yes.
Elliot Freeman calls it, drama.
Drama.
We need more drama.
Well, and what's crazy is like Boston has some legitimate ire in that game because the penalty on Marchand was a bad call, and the non-call right before Nylander's 1-0 goal was a horrible call too. A horrible non-call.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oof, to have those two calls against in the consequences of it. You get a call of basically a soft call on Marchand, and then you get a call that doesn't take a goal off the board in Toronto. I mean, it's again the theater of it all is very it's wonderful. And this series going 7, I just love the script following that this is doing. Like, this is great. I love it.
I'm very I can't wait for this game to happen. I really can. And I picked the Leafs to win in my bracket, so I'm rooting for that because I feel like I'm maybe the only one in our entire bracket pool that did that. So I'm excited to see that, but it's just line up to go get your doors blown off by the Panthers.
Well, that's true. Whoever wins gets a chance at revenge against the Panthers, who are just going to smack either of those teams around.
Maybe.
Here's a fun stat,
You never
too.
know.
In Jim Montgomery's coaching career, he is 1-7 in games where his team can eliminate their opponent.
Oof.
And has lost 7 in a row.
All with Boston, right?
No, Dallas.
Oh, no, Dallas, too.
He beat, I think, Calgary in the first round in 2019. That was his only win in an elimination game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember, in that season, the second round, the Dallas Stars had a 3-2 lead on the St. Louis Blues and choked that away, leading the Blues to win their only Stanley Cup. So, to you. And he lost 3 straight games to the Panthers last year. Now 2 straight games. He's 1-7, 7 games in a row. Jim Montgomery-led teams have lost when they can eliminate their opponent. That's not good.
No.
I mean, the fact that you're trying to have Trent Frederick and Morgan Geekie, right? Morgan, is it Morgan or Connor? I always get it. It's Morgan.
Morgan.
Geekie.
Connor is
he's the prospect. The
yeah.
Jets. If Morgan Geekie and Trent Frederick are the guys you're relying to try and win a series, you're in trouble. You need David Pastrnak and you need Brad Marchand to be what you're paying them to be.
Yes, your best players have to be your best players.
Brad Marchand hasn't had a shot. Did he get credit for a shot on goal late last night? I know, like 5 minutes to go, he didn't have a shot. He didn't have a shot in Game 5.
I got it right here.
If he had a shot in Game 6, it's only like 1, maybe 2.
Brad Marchand was credited with 2 shots on goal.
They came very late. He almost went 2 straight games without a shot on goal. You've got. It's like they come out, and they've come out timid the last 2 games. What are they afraid of? They had this series. The Maple Leafs were done.
Toast.
People were throwing dirt on the grave after Game 4.
Yep.
And then Austin Matthews, the best goal scorer in hockey, is not available. And you come out timid and afraid. The thing you're afraid of happening is what's happening because you're playing like this.
Yeah.
They're at home. Second straight year they get a Game 7 at home.
Like you said yesterday.
Better win it.
Even before Toronto won Game 6, all the pressure is on the Bruins.
Just like it
all
was.
the pressure.
Just like this, again, happened to them last season. All the pressure then got flipped on the Bruins once they lost Game 5 in overtime. It's history repeating itself.
Yeah.
I would like to think Boston's going to win this game. I can't see them doing this 2 years in a row. I will laugh if they do, and I will laugh if Toronto loses Game 7 again. Like Austin Matthews comes back and they lose 5-0.
That
would be crazy.
That's an interesting.
So what happens if Austin Matthews does come back for Game 7
And they lose?
The trade Austin Matthews noise is going to be so loud in
Matthews
Toronto.
for Dubois.
Depends
says
on
no?
what he does in the loss. If he comes back, plays, and is a liability, then you're gonna get some noise. But if he comes back, plays, and is the reason that they win, then you got something there. But I wonder if it's just like, hey, maybe we give him. You roll the dice and say, we need you to try and be as healthy as possible if we can win this Game 7, and we've won the last 2 with this lineup and this, this strategy moving forward. Like maybe we just try and win this Game 7 without him and give him an opportunity to be rested for potential Game 1. You might be overthinking it, but
if he can play even at 60%, he's out there for for Game 7.
We'll see.
Even if you just use him on the power play.
Because there's no guarantee there will be a next game.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Do or die. I mean, if it turns out that he could have played, but they wanted to hold him out.
And they lose like 2-1.
And they don't win that game, but
Yeah.
he could have played. That's going to get a lot of people fired.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny too because you're going to have like if the Leafs win, it's going to be that euphoria. And then
we did it. We just like last year
Yeah.
we beat Tampa, and then they show up to Florida and just get smacked around.
Yeah, and it's going to be all the narratives will reset about Sheldon Keefe and Austin Matthews and William Nylander, and it's just endless. It's endless. They're very talented. They're not the most talented in the East. I don't know. I think you're going to win. I think you're going to win Game 7, just because, like you said, Boston's kind of. What does Herb call it? Tight booty syndrome right now. They're a little bit scared of what's happening, and they don't see that much of an answer. I mean, when you see the Leafs hold them to 1 shot on goal for what, the first
period?
Yeah, the whole first and part of the second. Like, that doesn't just happen as a fluke. And I think it might have been 32 Thoughts. Maybe I was listening to something else today, but someone said when the Maple Leafs play hard, then let their skill come and make the difference, it's different from going out and trying to outskill teams. Yeah. And I think you've seen the Oilers kind of get that message too, is, we've got a lot of skill, but we still have to play playoff hockey to be in this. And then the difference will be, if we're forechecking, we're doing all those things, and then we get the puck back, we've got more skill than the other team to make something happen with it.
Yeah, because you can argue that even without Austin Matthews, Maple Leafs still have better offense than Boston.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, in terms of especially star power wise,
as we're seeing it outside of Pasternak and Marchand, who scares you?
Yeah, no one really.
I mean,
they haven't been able to have anyone step up.
Jake DeBrusk had 2 huge games to start the series, and now he's doing what Jake DeBrusk, our pal Pete Blackburn, has told us that he does, is his disappearing act.
Yeah.
Well, you bring in a Pat Maroon for these type of situations, but what's he really done? Not a whole lot.
No, not really.
So maybe this Game 7 is that's a guy I look at, like a guy like a Pat Maroon to be the difference maker in that game. A guy that's won 3 Stanley Cups. A guy that was brought here for this moment.
Yeah,
go do it.
Well, and conversely, Max Domi might be pricing himself out of not that the Hawks couldn't afford him, but he's making himself a very appealing free agent right now with the way he's playing.
Yeah.
Like what we've seen from him these last couple games is the Domi we saw when he was in Chicago.
Give him a minute.
he'll do something dumb. It's part of the DNA.
He'll take a dumb penalty in Game 7 that costs him the series, and then that price will go right back down.
Yeah, I mean, I think generally dumb penalties are something you live with a guy like Domi, because it's part of what keeps him going. It keeps him motivated, and he's got to play on that line to be effective. So fine, you take a bad penalty or two every week and live with it.
Because people have asked
the Game 7 penalty is different.
What's the difference between Domi and Bertuzzi? Because I have championed to bring Max Domi back, and I have multiple times said I want nothing to do with Tyler Bertuzzi, whereas Bertuzzi has more of the selfish dumb penalties. And Bertuzzi's not nearly as talented offensively as Max Domi.
Yeah,
I mean he's had some good seasons, but I think Max Domi is far more skilled than people give him credit for, because he takes on that role of kind of being the agitator, and it takes away from his skill at times.
Yeah, and I think just in our experience watching him for 82 games or whatever last year in Chicago, is his dumb penalties are usually teammate based.
Usually
he's sticking up for somebody, or
there weren't a lot of penalties while he was here in Chicago where you went, what are you doing? Like,
there were a few.
There were, but not as many as like I expected.
Yeah, exactly.
Like being around him for that 2/3 of a season made me change my mind on him.
Me too.
Like when they first signed him, I was kind of like, oh, great. I don't care. Like this guy's just gonna make me mad all year. But then you saw him interact with his teammates. You saw him play. You saw him bring his level of his game up. And then the majority of his penalty minutes last year was because someone took a run at Patrick Kane. I got to go get a 17-minute penalty.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, he did that twice. I think he had like 50-something penalty minutes with the Hawks, and 34 of them were
came on
two plays.
Two similar incidents, yeah.
He was far more disciplined than I thought he was going to be with the Hawks. And you kind of want that guy. If somebody takes a run at Patrick Kane and he's going to go get himself kicked out of a game to protect him, what do you think he's going to do for Connor Bedard?
So 76 penalty minutes.
Okay.
So what you're saying is
half of them were
basically half.
Yeah,
of them,
but the 51 you got was that difference.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right, we got 2 tonight. Real quick before we wrap up, we've got Canucks at Predators, Game 6. That's at 6:00, and then we've got Stars at Vegas. That game's at 9:00. You see either of these series ending tonight?
No.
Yes.
All right, what do you got?
I say they both end tonight.
All right, you got Vancouver
because I am rooting for the LA
winning.
Kings.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I think the Canucks and the Stars ended tonight. I think those are the two stronger teams in either series. I mean, it's gonna be tough on the road, but I think they both get wins tonight.
I think Vancouver wins it tonight. I think Dallas Vegas goes to Game 7.
I'm predicting both of these to go to Game 7s just because I love Game 7s. But
They are
also,
fun.
Yeah, Game 7s are a ton of fun.
Also, listen, man, if the Predators didn't have that epic collapse in Game 4, they're the team that's trying to close out tonight.
True.
They're going to be on home ice. They're facing a third-string goalie, even though their third-string goalie is probably better than their second-string goalie. I don't. When I look at the Canucks, you talk about some of their big guys have been, Elias Pettersson hasn't been the difference maker we thought he was going to be. Their top pairing of Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek, neither of those guys are 100% right
Hronek
now.
doesn't look right.
He's been.
That's not the guy that we saw all
He's
year.
not been the productive guy, and Hughes doesn't look healthy either. And rightfully so. Nashville's been exploiting that. They've been going after those two guys. They've been on the forecheck, taking those guys out as often as possible. If those two guys at the same time are not playing at full strength, that makes your team significantly weaker. I think Nashville takes this game back to the series back to Vancouver for a 7th game. I just can't see now. As much as I want it to happen, I want Dallas to win tonight. I can't see Vegas losing 3 straight games at home.
Yeah, they're too annoying to go away.
I can't see that happening. I can't see the defending Stanley Cup champions losing 3 straight on home ice to get ousted in the first round.
That would be pretty
I would
nice.
love to see it. I just don't think it happens. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the Stars, but I would like to see a winner-take-all Game 7 between those two teams. That would be a lot of fun.
And by the way, you mentioned Nashville pressuring Hughes and Hronek, to be clear. Andrew Burnett, one of the nominees for the Jack Adams, he is Blackhawks legend. Really good coach.
He is.
Yeah.
I agree with 2 to 3 Jack Adams nominees.
Okay.
Rick Tocchet, Andrew Burnett deserves it. Nobody except me had them being a playoff team this year. And they were one of the best teams in the entire league, that long winning streak.
Yeah. For sure.
Who would have thought denying somebody the music of U2 would turn them into a hockey juggernaut? But brilliant coaching move that paid off. Rick Tocchet, that's a guy that I said when they hired him last year,
Me
I
too.
didn't think he was that good of a coach. I thought it's more name but he's proven me wrong. That team played really well once the change was made last year. And that's why we talked about with the Hawks after the trade deadline, they played really well last year, and it carried over into this season. Nobody thought the Canucks were going to be a playoff team, let alone win the Pacific Division.
They were talking about blowing it up weeks before the season.
So Tocchet deserves it. The third? Who was the third guy?
Rick Bowness.
Rick Bowness. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I do agree with third. For some reason, I thought Paul Maurice got the third nod, and I wouldn't have agreed with that. Rick Bowness is another. The Jets were another team that nobody had expectations for. None of us picked them to make the playoffs. Not only did they make the playoffs, but they were one of the best teams in the West for most of the year. Colorado kind of dispatched them once they remembered that they're the Colorado Avalanche.
Right.
But Rick Bowness, and he's just such a well-respected guy around the league. So, I don't have a problem with any 3 of those. It's a tough year because you had those guys. I would not have been mad at all if Spencer Carberry was a finalist to get that team to the playoffs. I wouldn't have even been mad if John Tortorella got a nod for the job he did with the Flyers. Yeah, they completely collapsed
It fell apart,
on the stretch.
but they ran out of gas.
But they weren't even supposed to be there.
No.
People were talking the way some of those trades went down once Daniel Briere took over. We were all like, "Oh, Flyers are in on Celebrini. They're going for it," and they were 2-3 points shy of making the playoffs.
I like the 3 they settled on, but I could just certainly see Torts in there as well. When you just look at the expectations coming into the year, it's really hard for me to not give it to Burnett. I don't know. Nashville was.
I think Tocchet's going to get it.
Well, he's
I
got
feel
the
like Tockett's going to get it.
Canadian media influence, and he's got friends in the media.
And
Yeah,
he's a well-liked guy.
Yeah.
People like him.
The Coach of the Year award always seems like it is the team that most surprised you. And I think from where the Canucks were at to where they finished this season, that is probably the more surprising
Maybe.
finish, I would say.
I mean, the Jets were pretty darn surprising. When you consider they
but
traded
you-
away Dubois, they
Yeah,
got
but you
rid of
still
Blake Wheeler.
You still had Scheifele, Morrissey,
Yeah.
Hellebuck. You still had those guys there for to begin the year. And
I mean, I think a lot of
those
people
expectations
thought
were still
if
there.
everything went right, they'd be a wild card team, and they finished with over 100 points. And Bonus is a guy that's been around forever too, but I think it will be Tocchet just because he's the high profile job, and that team ran away and hid from the rest of the division this year.
Right.
Basically because the Oilers forgot to play hockey for a month. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have won that division.
Yeah,
right.
So yeah, it was the Vezina finalists where I didn't agree with a third choice, but not that Jack Adams. I think they got it right.
We'll do our awards predictions later in the summer. Hopefully, we'll be there in Vegas when they happen.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Looking to hear about that.
Yes.
All right, we'll wrap things up. We'll be back Monday.
I've just been for the last hour watching you guys and realized you're all wearing the same color shirt, and none of them's the 98C shirt.
Nope.
We're
No.
a little off.
this
They're all a
planned?
little bit different, though.
It's Heather Gray Day.
I didn't get
We're like the MLB uniforms. They're all
Actually-
gray, but they're not the same gray.
I almost wore the 98C today, and then I.
Almost.
Well, you
should
should
have.
have.
I'm wearing my one of my two Rockford IceHogs shirts.
I'm wearing my $8 T-shirt from Target.
Nice.
I mean, Greg's wins.
I wore that yesterday.
I've got my
The red one.
Big Lebowski,
Yeah, don't fuck with the
the
Jesus.
Jesus shirt on.
There you go. Thanks for pointing that out, Law.
Should we color coordinate for
look at
Monday?
me.
I'm gonna wear blue jeans.
Is it gonna be warm?
Yeah. Oh,
No.
Check the old weather app.
we'll see.
As long as there's nobody else in the office, it's comfortable in here.
Yeah, I think the air conditioning guy has gotten this thing working.
Well, it's also
Nice.
cooler outside. That helps.
We don't have the fan on. We didn't need it.
67 degrees.
Oh, that's
on
jeans.
Monday.
That's not shorts.
Yeah,
weather.
that's jeans weather.
If
All right,
there's-
well,
if
let's
there's
discuss it
sun.
over the weekend because guess what? It's here.
Woo!
The weekend's here.
We're gonna
Thanks
do,
for being with us, everybody. Do us a favor, hit that like button on your way out. We would appreciate that.
Go IceHogs.
Go IceHogs,
Go
of
IceHogs.
course. If you're going Sunday, get the pig slop. Send us pictures.
Are we gonna get mailbag Monday for Monday?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I think so.
Pre-draft lottery.
Only if you wear blue jeans.
Mailbag Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll wear it. That's fine.
So hit us up in the Discord. We'll send a tweet. Probably Sunday. We'll put the tweet up there for your mailbag questions, just so we don't get overwhelmed. We want to get them all in, and we'll talk to you Monday at 2:30 for Mailbag Monday on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.